Okay, so not even gonna lie to you guys, I had to read this chapter, but especially the last 12 pages, multiple times just so I could get a grasp on what the fuck just happened. Because when I first read through this chapter, I thought for a moment that Horikoshi had killed both Toga and Ochiko at the end at the end of it all. But from my understanding, both Toga and Ochiko are still very much alive, but were just kind of, I guess you could say, engulfed by the surrounding smoke that those formed from Toga's like twice clones disappearing. But with that said, there is, and so I think I kind of got that part tackled down pretty well. But with that said, there is still one thing that's kind of puzzling to me, and because I'm a dumbass, I will need your help I will need you to like confirm this for me in the comment section. But did Toga lose her powers? Because while the chapter was amazing in giving us this whole emotional roller coaster of Toga finally opening up and pouring her heart out to Ochiko about our fears, frustrations, and angers about the world. Based on the pace, how the sequence of events played out, that seemingly didn't happen until Toga had recognized that Jin twice was fading, so to speak. And even then, like the switch up of her demeanor from enraged to happy kind of happened at the drop of a dime. Like it's one of those things where if she still had her powers, I don't think that Toga would basically have the reaction that she pretty much did to that. So, and in that context, the fact that the chapter was kind of framed and even in further context, the fact that the chapter was framed as Toga saying goodbye to Twice in that moment for one last time. And the fact that she looked like she was so happy that like a weight had been lifted off her shoulders, all of these elements do seem to more so lean in the direction that she's lost her powers, but because there wasn't really any direct acknowledgement of the fact, it's hard for me to say for sure one way or another. But again, the way this chapter was framed leads me to believe Toga's powers are gone. It's just it's just, and I know it's weird to get hung up on this, but I can't say for sure. So like again, I'm gonna need confirmation from you guys. Did Toga in fact lose her powers, or is it just that the Prince Twice clones are gone? Is that all it is? Like I'm trying to just kind of tell me in the comments below if you could. It would really help me out a bit here. But okay, weird hang-ups on the logistics of how the fight ended aside. This chapter really was fantastic, though, if for no other reason than to finally see Toga open up, even if the circumstances of such are a little tragic in the sense where losing the last shred of Twice kind of broke her to the point of like feeling like she had nothing left to lose, so she might as well lay it all on the table. Like literally, that you could say that is kind of what happened. Like after she was finally able to after Twice finally disappeared, her Twice's blood was no longer mixing with her own. At that point, I think we could say Toga officially broke. She had no other recourse at that point other than to open her heart to Ochiko and just hope beyond God that she meant, that Ochiko meant what she said about just wanting to understand her, which obviously is shown from the following events of all that and what happened in the chapter. That is very much the case, as the chapter ended very fittingly with both Toga and Ochiko embracing each other and acknowledging one another's existence, with Ochiko even saying, "Toga's smile is the cutest in the world." And again, small moment, I know, probably small moment, just that one little bit of acceptance is, I think in some ways, really all Toga ever wanted, and she finally got her wish to finally be accepted. And the thing about that, though, is that from a certain view, getting to see the real Toga in the final moments of this chapter, who she really is, was only made possible by just letting go of Twice. obviously Twice will always be with Toga in her heart and mind as long as she never gets him, all that jazz. But she also kind of need to let go of the last thread of him she was clinging to in order to be able to truly open up. Like, in some ways you could say that even though the friendship between Toga and Twice was genuine, it was also kind of a crutch that they clung to each other. And by just letting go of Twice, she was finally able to open up. And while a little cliche, I think when it comes to examining the life of Himiko Toga, how she's lived it, this was probably the best way to end her story, if outside of the idea of just killing her. I also like how we learn her infatuation with Izuku comes from a real place, as well, with Izuku reminding her of a boy she had a crush on, but in both cases she was afraid to admit any of those feelings. There's only really one way she ever knows how to admit her feelings, by absorbing their blood into her body. And it does kind of show, just getting all this out there, all of this stuff out there in the ether, just opening her heart up to Ochiko. It really does show just what kind. Again, it's something we've seen many times before, but it really does show how everything just kind of really fucked her up. Like, she felt she didn't have any other recourse at that point. But yeah, aside from that though, there's not a whole lot more to talk about, other than, once again, this is another chapter where in certain panels Horikoshi further proves how great he is at drawing horror, because just that singular panel of a twisted and malformed Toga looming over baby Ochiko with her knife on an all-white backdrop, like, that shit just screams, but like body horror and just like slasher thriller kind of shit. And I just love it. Also, I'm probably sounding like broken record, and like, it's one of those things where I'm probably sounding like broken record when I say this, but it is one of those moments where I do wonder if at any point in his life Horikoshi considered drawing a horror manga, because moments like that really show the guy has the artistic chops for it. And yeah, aside from that, not a whole lot to mention with this chapter, other than, again, the pacing is a little bit wonky. Again, just from the whole thing, just from the whole thing I had described, with the whole, like, needing to decipher what happened at the end of the chapter. It is kind of one of those things where it feels like the pacing was a little bit wonky in places, and I felt maybe this chapter needed a little bit more of a once over, just to kind of smooth it, just to see if you could smooth out some of those pacing issues. But yeah, it's not bad. It's just I wish some aspects of the pacing was a little more coherent. But yeah, not much. But aside from that, not much else to even talk about with this chapter, guys. So I guess that's all I've got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just shut it around, guys. Dark Knight of Night signing off. Later, everyone.